I got into playing the harp. I was started on a guitar at about 7 years old, 8 years old, and I messed around with that till my brother took me to see Jimmy Reed in '58. I was 11 and he got me into the club on a weeknight. They served food, and he told Jimmy Reed, we got backstage on the break, he told Jimmy Reed I was a young man's trying to play guitar. And Jimmy said, well, looked like he needs something to go with it, and he gave me one of his old harps. And I fooled around with that thing for quite a while with the guitar, and then a guy gave me another one a few years later, and I messed with that. When I got in the first group, I started with these fellows, and they had guys was playing guitar better than I was, see. So they told me, Rod, just forget that guitar, play the harp. And so I stayed with it ever since.
Can you give it to him one time, Dan?
So anyway, I played through my teens, and after I got out of high school, everyone I knew, it was the '60s, and everyone I knew, all my friends were in bands. They're going, come on, you play piano, play in our band. I go, well, I don't know how to improvise. I play with sheet music. I don't know what the heck you're doing. And so just listening to him and hanging around him and partying, and one night I sat down at the piano with him, and I was just able to kind of feel what it felt like to improvise a little bit, and that all started it. And we were just playing just the popular music at the time, you know. There was the Grateful Dead and the Jefferson Airplane and Quicksilver and all those bands. I'm from San Francisco area. And that's how I heard one night sitting with everybody, heard a Fleetwood Mac in Chicago record. And then when I heard Otis Spann, I wasn't really serious about playing for my life at all. I had no intention of it. When I heard that, I said, I would like to do that. I would like to play just like that.
Well, I don't think I really had any other way to go other than playing music. I never really was interested in anything else in any way, and certainly not any day job that I could get. You know, so when the thought of being able to play music and enjoy it instead of working at a golf course or a gas station, you know, I say, well, man, I got to put something into this to get something back. So that was early on, you know. I mean, the music was in me from a little boy, but I'd say when I got to be 15 or 16, I really wanted to try and get up on the bandstand, you know. You know, fooling around with that harmonica, it don't have a lot to give you right off the bat. So anything that you can add to that sound to get it a little bit more pleasing and enhance the tone, you got to try and squeeze out of what you got with just a cheap microphone with your hands and the way you shape your inside of your mouth now, see. But you can add a vibrato on that, you know, and you can do a lot of little things to enhance that so that one note sounds like more than one note. You got to make that one note sound like a bigger note than it is when you play in the harp. I just developed my sound from listening to the cats that I really loved, like, you know, George Harmonica Smith and Little Walter, them two, really, and found a way to go somewhere in between the two, taking a little bit from either one and putting a little bit of myself, shake it up in a sack like you shake up fried chicken and dump it out, and when I dump it in the pan, that's Rod Piazza, so that's what you get. I met George Smith one night when he was playing there, and he let me sit in with him, and then about a month later I was playing the same club, the Ash Grove, opening for Howlin' Wolf. And George Smith came down there, and he was working for Wolf on this tour, and so he sat in with my group, and at the end of the week we had been sitting in together all week, and George says, Rod, we got to get a group together. And I said, well, 2 harps? He said, yeah, that's what I want to do. So he said, I'm going to call you as soon as I get off the road with Wolf in about a month. And I thought he was jiving me, you know, and about a month later I'm laying up in the bed and I get a call in the morning, and I say, hello. He said, Rod? Yeah, George Smith. Oh, hey, George, man, how you doing? You ready to work? Yeah, sure. Can you get a drummer? So I got a drummer, and we started playing down in Watts at a little club called Sassy Kitten. And Pee Wee Creighton was on guitar, and that's really where I first started working with George Smith, down in them little clubs in Watts.
See, I was probably more typical, a more typical teenager, didn't know anything. I was an only child, and none of my friends knew about the blues. But in the 60s, we started on the weekends, on Friday nights, we'd all head out to the city, and we'd go to the Fillmore, the Avalon, and we'd watch those shows. And for me, it's kind of a funny story now, because I would see Howlin' Wolf or Albert King, one of those guys, they'd be opening up for Jefferson Airplane, you know, and they'd play, and I actually was pretty smart, I guess, looking back, as I go, why is this person opening the show for this person? That guy was really good. Who was that? And it didn't register who it was, you know. But now looking back, I saw all the greats.
Come on, honey, bust it loose.
We met on 1973. I was playing a show in San Gabriel Civic Auditorium with Pee Wee Creighton and myself and the band, and Big Joe Turner. And the headliner was not Jimmy Reed, but John Lee Hooker.
John Lee Hooker.
And so we got done doing our part of the show, and I think John Lee Hooker was up there playing, and I was backstage milling around, and a cat came up to me saying, oh yeah, I see you got J.D. playing piano. I had J.D. Nicholson playing piano for me at the time, and he was getting up in years. And he said, man, I got a chick can really play some piano, and she can play all your stuff. I said, is that right? And so he said, I told him, I said, well, look, man, I'm playing over here on Monday night at this club every Monday night. Bring her over there. We'll see, can she play or not. So he brought you over there, oh, didn't he?
Yeah, to the Red Baron.
Yeah, and she had a little bitty piano. I don't know how many keys it had.
Had enough.
Wasn't a big piano though, a little bitty piano. So she sat in and played, and it sounded pretty good. So I said, well, you look, here's some, I'll give you some records. Gave her some records, and she went home and wood shit. And then we went over to her pad and practiced with the whole group. And she was coming along, and I think I hired her not too long after that. I hired you not too long after that. And so then, working with me, she worked right alongside of Pee Wee Creighton and Shaky Jake and George Harmonica Smith and oh, I don't know how many, Joe Turner. She worked all them shows with everybody. She even worked at the Pioneer Club with Smokey Wilson when we were working down there. And now I hate to think about going somewhere without her, because every time I get to a club, first thing somebody asks me, is your wife here? Oh yeah, she's here.
Four. Then second time I said, give me a little push to it. Watch his hip. We'll open it up one. Watch the hips.
Well, when I saw him play, I knew I was seeing something very, very fantastic. And you know, wow, he's good. Plus, he's handsome. But you know, I didn't let anyone know I was thinking that. So, music was first, and so I just wanted to go over to his gig, and I really wanted to impress him with my playing, because I wanted to get in a blues band, and I wanted to play with him. That's what I wanted to do. So I don't know, I didn't think I pulled any games on you or anything. I was just my sweet self. And made him fall madly in love with me. I don't know what I did.
You were looking for that 89th note.
How about it for Honey on piano, Paul on the drum, let's boogie some, baby.
Well, my instrumental, The Stinger, it does mean a lot to me, because it was really my first great composition as far in the boogie vein, because I was just loving Chicago blues, Otis Spann. That's the kind of music, that's what I tried to learn, that's what I loved, and I would listen to the boogie players and pick up little things. But then finally I had accumulated a few licks, and I thought, I'm going to give this a try. And we were just in a local club, And I just started off, I had the intro, and then I just started playing. And by the end of that song, people were on their feet and screaming. I went, whoa, I got something here. Hearing Boogie Woogie live, you can't deny it. You know, there's not a show that goes by without a fan coming up, say, honey, will you do the stinger? I think they think all my boogies are called the stinger, though. They love the stinger.
I got stranded in England in '70 with my band, and a girl I knew that was instrumental in getting me my first record deal, she said, what are you doing over here? I said, well, I'm kind of stranded in London here. So well, I'm going to take you up to the Apple Records and meet Derek Taylor, their manager. So she took me up there and I met him, and he played my 45, and he said, man, I really like your stuff, Rod. He said, it's just a shame you picked such a small idiom to excel in. And I thought to myself, oh man, he don't know what he's talking about. Pretty soon the whole world's going to wake up and love blues, you know. But he was right, you know, but that's all right. I don't have any regrets about the music we chose to play.
Where else you gonna go in California to hear good blues like that? Come on and give it to me.
Well, you know, you playing blues music, you had to get into it because you loved it. It touched something in your soul, and that's why you wanted to do it. The business end of it, that always came second to a real blues player. So, you know, we really don't get too concerned about, well, we ain't getting no airplay, or, yeah, I wish we did, yeah, it'd be nice, but you sort of accept your role in life, you know, and if you ever do get lucky and something hit, great. But you learn to love the music for the music, not for the money that you hoped you could make. If that's what you're looking for, you know, you're in the wrong business.
I call it murder in the first degree.
I had written a couple of these songs, and one was So Glad to Have the Blues, and one was Murder in the First Degree. And so Rod was doing a new record. He was doing it was one of his first solo records, right?
Yeah.
You had never done that before.
Second
solo. And I said, oh, I got a couple songs to play for you. I thought I wrote it. Really? So I went there and played for him. He goes, wow, you got any more like these? Where you've been hiding these? Remember, you were surprised.
Yeah.
So those are good.
Yeah, they was. They're still good. Well, the only thing that really keeps you going is the same thing that kept you going at the start, and that's the love of the sound of the music when you're playing it. It certainly ain't the traveling all over hell trying to get to where you got to be in this time and hurry up and go to the next place. And it certainly ain't the money that you're hoarding away. So the only thing left is the sound of the music when it's right on the bandstand, and that's about the reward that you learn to get. So when you get it, you're happy. That's it. But I didn't really have any other way to really decide to go. I think my life was ordained to be what it is, and you know, it's been some rough going a lot of times. You're trying to make ends meet, but musically, I don't have any regrets with my life and with Honey. You know, I'm glad for what we got.
Yeah, I couldn't have done anything else any better. This is just what I do the very best and what my heart's, you know, most invested in. So I would do it all over again. There's no regrets, really. When you're young, you have these dreams. You're going to be, you know, like the rock stars and all that. And as the years pass by, you realize that's not going to happen. But does it matter? No. You don't quit and join a rock band. Being married and being in a band and touring together and all that stuff. At home, we have our duties divided up, you know. Like certain things I handle, certain things he handles that you never really say it out loud, this is what's going to happen. But all that, it's just a machine, and it's 24 hours a day. You know, what other husbands and wives talk about over the dinner table, we're talking about the gig we're going to do next week. But it's worked out really good for us because I have a lot of friends in the music business, and their partners are musicians, and they say, how do you do it? I would kill my husband, or I would kill my wife if I had to be with her all this time. So we're just best friends. When we're off, we love to surf and go to car shows, and every day we do everything together. So we're just best friends, and that's why it worked out. We're not husband and wife, we're best buddies. So.
You gon' find your love is showing up here to stay.